can utilize the time. Yeah.
Sure.
So, students, we have with us Venkat sir. Venkat sir is from the founding batch of Indian Institute of Packaging, Mumbai, 1985-87. He has already spent like 3+ decades, more than 30 years in end-to-end packaging development. He started his career with Pond's, now Unilever, moved to Marico, then Cabin Care, Sara Lee, now Godrej, Imami, Paras, Havels, Jyoti Laboratories, and now for past 5 years he's working in the capacity of an independent consultant with various FMCGs, pharmaceuticals, and management consulting firms. Nice to have you here. I think students will love to hear insights from you both on packaging as well as on soft skills. Uh, Pass on to you, sir. We can start. I think it's
Oh,
already like 1 minute to students can meanwhile join. We can start the introduction process.
thank you very much for the introduction, and a very good evening to all. I could see 75. I could see some names, not all the names. So a very good evening to all of you, and thank you so much, Ayush and Ajay, and also the other IAP AA leadership group, Swati, Hari, and Jay. You're all doing a fantastic job, and especially utilizing the present COVID situations, wherein people are not able to go out. But the way you are organizing all these webinars and such important topics, I think this is a beautiful idea, fantastic idea. This is, I think, one of the best initiative ever of alumni association. Thank you. Congrats first, and thanks again for inviting me to talk to my fellow alumni friends. And as Ayush said, that I am from the first batch of the Indian Institute of Packaging, and passed out in 1987 from Mumbai. There was the only center which had the course at that time, though there were centers in Calcutta, Chennai, and Delhi, but PG education was started only in Mumbai, and we were 17. Uh, so now I believe this batch is about some 250 odd.
Yes, so current batch, 34th batch, who will graduate this year in June 2020, they have 180 in number, and their junior batch is somewhere around 220 in number, so close to 400 students, first year and second year together.
Fantastic. So nice to hear the confidence reposed by the students in packaging field. I mean, in our time, we didn't know anything. What is packaging? What is packing? Nothing. We just took a chance to do a course, and fortunately, it turned out to be a very nice one. And I hope that it is the same for all you guys. So basically, without much ado, maybe I think I can move on to. So essentially, the topic which I'm going to speak today is the soft skills required for PGDP students, and this is going out to all my 34th batch of PGDP students. And so I put in a simple slide presentation only, not big animation or stuff like that. I try to make it as simple and try to make it as understandable, as easily understandable. This thing. So the basic flow is that basically I'll be talking on these things, and hopefully last 10 minutes or something, I could answer some questions if at all you have, or you can put it as notes, which probably Ajay and Ayush can share it with me. If it is possible to respond, I can do that now itself, or probably I can respond it to them through mail, and they can then share it.
Sure,
So
sure.
that's
Yeah.
how it goes. So to the team, this slide is already explained by Ayush. This is slide to just to show my face to you, just to put a face to my name. That's the whole thing. There is nothing else. So as you said, I passed out in 87, and I started my career with Pond's India, which is now part of Unilever, and I worked to some 3, 4, 5 different companies, and worked till about 2015. From 2015, I'm basically from Chennai, so my family lives in Chennai, so I moved to Chennai, and I'm from 2015. I started my own consulting company. The most enjoyable thing which I did in my consulting thing is the diverse nature of the companies which I consult. My core experience was always in FMCG, say for a very brief 1 year time period with Havels, which is for the electrical goods packaging. Baki 27 years is full of FMCG, but my consulting experience is with very, very diverse sectors, including FMCG, pharma, foods, engineering, automotive, everything. So over this period, I have basically been exposed to quite a good, robust ways of packaging methods, and then also some packaging systems, and therefore able to execute some really challenging packaging projects with the help of my team. So that's about myself. And the basic presentation thing, I have put in, instead of just talking only about soft skills, I also put some small skills. Basically, I want this talk to be more oriented towards helping you out in, I mean, as you're all, almost going to finish your course, and then, going into some job interviews and stuff like that. I thought some aspects which I can share it with you from my experience, and which can be sort of a small help to you. So about 20% will be on, I'll be 80% I'm talking on soft skills, balance 10% I'm talking on some hygiene skills, and some of these somebody else would have already talked. So please please sort of pardon if there is a repetition on this. And if there is anything, if you can feel that I'm going too fast or something like that, you can stop me at any time. The basic hygiene skill these are what I call a pre-interview skills. Essentially, these are some of the things which are sort of people judge you even before you open your mouth to them. So essentially what? So you respect time. When I say respect time, when you are called for an interview or something like that, try to be present 15 minutes there before, so that you are in a relaxed mood, you are not in a tense mood. And then, and then being early is not only good for Indigo, but for you also. On time is good for everybody. So essentially, it indicates what? It indicates that you respect others' time. Most importantly, when you respect others' time, others will respect your time. And then the next stuff is basically the clothing and attire. So dressing is appropriately for easy formals. I mean, nowadays tie is not necessary, so you can go with the easy formals. And then if full sleeves, please roll the sleeve down and button it up to the wrist. And definitely wear well-polished shoes, or appropriate footwear for women. So shoes are very, very important. I mean, it's said that people first look at your shoes first. So they are very important. And then comes the hygiene skills or the body language skills. So essentially, look cheerful, exchange pleasantries when you're called, and of course, you will know that you will be asked to sit, but don't be in a hurry to sit down. And then in sitting in the chair is also very important. Are you sitting too deep, which can show you you're very casual, or if you're showing too much into the front, you can show that you're too nervous. So sit appropriately, and then in relaxed manner, and then obviously don't put the hands. You try to put the hands on your thighs clasped, and then try to look into the eyes of the interviewer. Don't look up or don't look down or sideways. If you look into the eyes of the interviewer and speak to the eyes, it shows that you're confident. And don't be fidgety. People tend to do some sort of drumming, rotate the pin on the fingers and all. All of them show that you're anxious, and then stuff like that. Be relaxed and be cheerful. Okay, so that's the basics of hygiene skills which I taught. Now coming to the soft skills. Soft skills are what? Soft skills are some skills which you acquire. They are not taught. There is no examination for soft skills so that you can pass or something like that. These are some of the term used for skills that are not technical or job related. So any soft skills required by any guy, be it engineer, be it a medical graduate, be it a chartered accountant, be it a management graduate. So it is not specific or a job related aspect. It is a skill which is required for everybody. So typically the interpersonal skills and all the attitude you have and stuff like that. So basically these are the skills that define how you relate with people and how you approach your work, which is, as the slide goes, you will understand the meaning of this. And hard skills essentially is basically what you have been taught, what you have learned. So, ironically, you can see that for many people, soft skills are the most hardest to learn, hardest skill to develop. But it doesn't mean that it cannot be developed or learned. So there is some definition given by Collins Dictionary, which probably you can read through. Desirable qualities of certain forms of employment that do not depend on acquired knowledge. They include common sense, ability to deal with people, and a positive flexibility. So essentially, this is why are soft skills important? Why when you may think that I'm going for an interview for a very junior level, my they should test my technical knowledge. Why they should take my soft skill? Am I going to be manager? Am I going to lead the department? So it's not the case. Soft skill is required for any level of position. To that level of influence that position carries, you need to have a soft skill. So soft skill, and then you can show that, like some 10 PG students go for an interview for the same company. All the 10 have the same basic technical knowledge. So how people will differentiate who is the best? So there the soft skill comes. Soft skills are the difference between adequate candidate and an ideal candidate. Some people may be just adequate, but some guys may be ideal guys. So recruiters want to have ideal guys. Only if they're not able to select the ideal guy, then they select the best among the people. So even that guy becomes the ideal. So soft skill is very important apart from this thing. So as I said, that in very competitive, because 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, 40 people go for the one job or two jobs, like two positions. The recruitment criteria is just not related only to the technical skill. So it is the soft skill which they test, and then this thing. Why soft skill also so important? When you join an organization, you are not going to work yourself alone. You're going to have interaction with others, with your colleagues, with your suppliers, vendors, customers. So it is very important. Some sound I heard. Is it okay? Is it continuing?
So please, it is really very okay. You're going really fine. Just continue.
Sorry. Okay. Well, I heard some sound. I thought I've logged out or something.
No, so these will be the some chat box or conversations will be going on parallelly along with the Q&A, so that our student will compile at the end and then ask to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, as I said, there is a lot of interaction for any level of position, junior most level position to the senior most, to CEO, MD level position. There is always a lot of interaction. So soft skill is very critical. And then what? Like, people take you, companies take you to offer you a career, to offer you a progression in the company. They don't want you to join the company, leave in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. People take with the assumption that you will be with the company, progress in the company. So they want you to be the future leader. So you have to have the potential to become leaders in that company. So they expect the soft skills are the essential qualities to progress your career in any company. Okay, so as I said, some points may be repeating. So employers value soft skills apart from the technical competency, especially in our packaging graduates. There is a technical aspect which is there, and then the soft skill is becoming very important for to get an opportunity to work in the companies and things like that. So successful companies have people with soft skills to make career progressions, to achieve the company objectives, and it becomes when a person is good with soft skills, it becomes a pleasure for him to work in that organization. The company also derives maximum benefit of it. So soft skills are very important in all these areas. Now I come to specifically, these are not exhaustive, but I thought, I collected some information from the net, obviously, and then I tried to put quite a few important soft skills. Like, you can go through that: communication, self-motivation, leadership, responsibility, teamwork, problem solving, decisiveness, ability to work under pressure and time management, flexibility, negotiation, conflict resolution. So as you may see that, many of these skills, you may think that is it again required for me at an entry level, as a junior level, you may think, but when I explain it, you may understand why you need these skills at any level in the organization. Communication, without saying, it is one of the topmost soft skills. Communication, in you can say, typically it is almost the packaging of you. Apart from the way you physically show yourself, communication is the oral way of packaging yourself. That's very important. Yes, a good packaging conveys the product may be good, better than others, than a shabbily packed good product. So a good communicator is seen to be better than a guy who's not able to communicate, even though their technical skills may be same, or the technical skill of a non-communicator may be high. But if he's not able to communicate himself, obviously he's not able to package himself well. So communication is very, very critical. You can see that good communicators are able to, communicate properly depending on the need of the audience. In terms of the tone, style, in terms of the pace, and then communication helps you to comprehend what others are saying and act efficiently on instructions. Important, because at this level of your job prospects, you will be mostly joining as an entry level. You'll be assisting your head of the department, or you may be assisting an assistant manager or a manager. So there will be a lot of instructions given to you, so, and then maybe asked to carry out those tasks. So there, the communication, one important aspect of communication, of listening, is very critical. How somebody tells you do this job, so how you are able to listen to that instruction, and how you are able to understand it and then do that job is very, very important. Okay, so one thing I can tell you is that most of the packaging departments are in very, very big companies. The packaging department, as such, the number of packaging people working may be very, very large, maybe 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s also. But even in those companies, they are separated into some, category-wise packaging people, some, cosmetic people, some foods people, some pharmaceutical packaging people. So typically, the packaging team will be 3 to 4 max, and then or even sometimes even 1 to 2. So you may be reporting to one boss. That's all. You're a 2-man team or a 3-man team. So essentially, a boss communicates to you, and you have to get it done. And so you may have to interact with the people of the other departments, because packaging involves a lot of interaction with marketing, production, quality control, purchasing or procurement, legal, so sales. So everything you have to. So the communication, what you tell them and what you understand from them, is very, very important. So you have to have good skill in listening. You have to have good skill in speaking. So, or your verbal. The verbal is the oral communication. Non-verbal is the body language skills. So written communication is also very important, especially email written communication. There is a good etiquette you need to maintain, because email, sometimes you can copy something to the highest level person in the company. So how well you communicate in email is very, very important. So that skill is very critical. So as I said, communication skill almost always high on the essential skills. It's very, very important. Communication skill is the first thing they look in the soft skills. Baki sab to they can see it later. The first thing they immediately judge you is how well you are able to communicate. Self-motivation. Self-motivation, as I said again, you could be joining in a company in a packaging team which is 2 people or 3 people. So since there are 2 to 3 people, the hierarchy is very, very small. So boss is always a part of larger, meetings and stuff like that. So he's not going to hand hold you, guide you. you may have to do things yourself. So there will not be 24/7, supervision and what you do and stuff like that. So you have to be motivated enough by yourself to do things. So how do you do that? So that's very important. So you can, if you are positive that you can do yourself, if you're ambitious, some people may be, very, what do you call, afraid of, or less in confidence. They may be afraid of fear of failure and stuff like that. They may not be ambitious. So they are all, the motivation there is very difficult. And commitment, what is the commitment you have? If you are motivated, self-motivation is the best commitment. If you are motivated, if you are involved by your self-motivation, obviously there is nothing better, more commitment than this. Initiative, again, self-motivation drives the initiative. You want to take things of your own. You are motivated to do things of your own rather than somebody telling you to do that. So self-motivation is, people who are self-motivated get on by themselves. That's very, very important as a potential leadership quality. Okay, now leadership is a soft skill, but it is a combination of many of the soft skills. In fact, most of the soft skills are required to basically show a leadership's quality. So, you have to, when you are looking for a leadership quality, you have to communicate well, you have to have motivated, you have to be responsible, you have to be decisive. So essentially, all of these things is part of the leadership skills. As I said previously, you are leader for your activities, for your sphere of influence. Whatever is your sphere of influence, you are the leader there. So you must show. You cannot say that leadership is not mean that always that you have to manage people. Leadership is not only managing people, but also managing things. So managing things is essentially by way of how good you are in communicating, how good you are in, how positive you are, how good you are in a teamwork approach. All of these things are very, very critical. So leadership skills essentially comes at any time. Again, my example is in a 2-man or 3-man time, when your boss may be traveling or is on a personal vacation, you may be asked to lead the project. You may be asked to present status on the project. So you have to be ready with that. You cannot say that I don't know, my boss will present. So if you show leadership skill at that entry level itself, your visibility in the organization is going to be very, very high. So when I say visibility, means that you are not known only to your boss. You are becoming known to other departments, sometimes even to the very senior management of the company. And therefore, when they start looking at you, when they start realizing that you have the potential, then obviously you're likely to get more responsibilities and stuff like that. So leadership skill is also a very important skill, most important skill. Responsibility, again, go hand in hand. Responsibility is something which you can take yourself by initiative, or it is given to you, by others after assessing your trustworthiness, your technical capability, your motivation to take responsibility. Are you motivated to take responsibility? Then again, accountability is important. When you are giving responsibility, you have to take accountability of your actions. You cannot just say responsibility and not take accountability. It's very critical. Both go hand in hand. So responsibility is again a critical skill, which is preparing yourself for a leadership role. Just a minute. Teamwork. Teamwork is a critical skill, especially in organizations where multi departments are there, and then especially for packaging, it is very, very on a day-to-day basis. You may be interacting with at least 5 to 6 departments. As I said, like packaging. The users of packaging, internal users of packaging, are production, marketing, procurement, quality, R&D, okay, and sales. So basically, you are responsible for your packaging actions for all these, people, for all these team, for all these people in the team. So the teamwork is very critical. Whatever packaging you develop, design, and then try to implement, you have to have a purchasing guy to procure for you from the good vendors. You have to have the support from the production team to help you out with the necessary machines and stuff like that. You have to have support from your quality control to ensure that what specs you are uh, designed the packaging is what is received at the factory at the time of production or something like that. You have to depend on sales, because what is produced and goes into the market, what is the feedback? What is the feedback? Internal salespeople, what is the feedback from the ultimate end users? So marketing and sales give the feedback to you on that. They may say that, this is what we have made, but the feedback from the sales is, there is some improvement compared to competition. We are like this, we are better, we need some improvement. So you need to have a fantastic rapport with all these people. Then only you can say that, the packaging, what you have done is, taken to a logical conclusion. So essentially, good teamwork involves a combination of a lot of other skills: communication, listening. One of the other things which I'm going to tell you a little bit later is conflict resolution. In a team, there is always conflicts. So how good you are in resolving the conflicts is very, very critical. So you need to have that skill also. As I said, in working in a team, sometimes you are a leader, sometimes you are a follower. So not everybody is a leader. And in teams, generally, there is no hierarchy. In teams, generally, people, in cross-functional task force teams, people of almost of the same level are in the team. So there is no, by just virtue of position, nobody is a leader. So leader is something, a person whose objective the team is formed. A packaging relaunch means a packaging guy is the leader. A cost optimization project could be a packaging, and the purchase guys could be the leaders. So it depends. You have to know when you have to understand when you are the leader and when you are the follower. So when you are a leader, you have to show the leadership skills. When you are the follower, you have to show the skills of listening and then executing to the satisfaction of the others. That's what it says, that good team players are perceptive as well as receptive to needs and responsibilities of others. Problem solving. Problem solving packaging is very, very critical because it's a technical function. So there is bound to be some problems related to packaging by way of design, by way of the vendor, not by way of improper specification, by way of non-performance by vendor, by way of the factory is also not understanding the quality and stuff like that. So I'm very sure that people like Ayush and Ajay, they can very well tell that packaging problems are almost on a day-to-day basis. So that is very, very important to have the skill of problem solving. Problem solving, yes, since you are technically qualified in packaging, you are the first resource to solve the problem. But is it alone? Is that alone enough? No, you have to have a specific mindset for solving the problems. You have to have a very cool and rational approach to the problem. You have to be strong in data collection, because only by data collection you can analyze the data and make some interference from the data and make some action plan, make some test plans, test it out, and then come out with a solution. And then basically all of you probably would have heard that cycle, PDCA. So plan, do, check, act is a quality cycle. So problem solving is essentially, is basically planning what's the problem, collecting data, then do, meaning implement some trials, implement some trial results, and check the results of the trials, and then act on that by way of improving on what is already there. So problem solving is important. It is also critical that you should have a strong teamwork for the problems. It cannot be, it says that need not always be, I would say that it cannot be solved alone. You need to have a team to solve it. So essentially, problem solving also teaches you to, as I said, you alone cannot be, you alone will not be able to resolve the problem. You will have to know where is the resource, who's the resource you can approach to help you to solve this issue. There could be a resource, a packaging line problem. You may have to take a resource from the maintenance guys or the engineering guys. They can help you because you may not know the machine design. You can ask them like, how this is the problem, how you can help me. So that is also one of the leadership skills. The leader is a guy who does not have all the skills himself, but he knows who's the person to approach to get the things done. So leadership means that getting things done, not doing things yourself. Getting things done is a leadership quality. So problem solving also helps you to go towards the leadership. As I said, all the soft skills are there to achieve a leadership skill for you. So this is a very important skill you should, look to learn and cultivate.
Venkat sir, sorry for intervention. So we have 100 students so far. I think some students are unable to join. So we would like to pause for just 1 minute. We will be back soon. Ajay and Rashni, can you look into the issue? And BRs, please immediately circulate. Please, those who are like unable to join, please join it now.
Everything is good.
Yeah, so some students are messaging me, so they are not able to join. Can you please look into that?
Okay, we'll check.
Yeah, please, please.
What should I continue?
So just wait
Yes,
for
sir.
2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I will wait. I will. Sure.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can start. If anything will be there, we will let you know. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I'm now coming to the next soft skill, which is decisiveness. So decisiveness is, basically is the ability to take decisions quickly and also effectively. It doesn't mean that you are acting on impulse or you're acting on recklessness. I'm a person who takes decision fast. People don't want that. People want to know the quality of the decision. Like, what decision you take, is it effective? Is it also quick? It doesn't mean that you take ages to take a decision. So you should be able to decide quickly, take action quickly as well as effective action. So decisiveness, again, lot of attributes. One of the backbone of decision making ability is the technical knowledge, which I'm assuming that is an hygiene, which is same for all of you. But what is the difference between 2-3 guys who can, why somebody is able to decide quickly, why somebody is not able to decide quickly? So some things which I have put is that basically you have to have perspective. The meaning of perspective is looking at a wide angle view, looking at, a larger picture, larger canvas of picture, which is basically, when you take a decision, you may feel that you have solved it, but without knowing yourself that you have opened problems somewhere else in the same value chain. So the packaging value chain is essentially right from getting the packaging and packing and then putting it onto the shelf and used for the consumer. So till that value chain, the decision you take should be beneficial. It should not happen that in some areas of the value chain it is okay, in some areas of the value chain it is not okay. So this is the thing. As I said, you are able to take decision having after considering the perspective, all the entire value chain. Again, decision. Decision essentially is a French word, like DED or de. I'm sorry about my French pronunciation. De means to. CIDE, side means kill. So decision means to kill. To kill the alternatives is what is decision. Like suicide means self, side means kill. So suicide is killing oneself. Then matricide, patricide, homicide. That's how the word. So decide is to kill the options. So weigh the options, look at various alternatives, think which is the best, and decide. That's what the word decide. Okay. Again, same assess observation. And last important thing is anticipate sequences across the value chain, good or bad. Like the decision you take is good for, let's say, the filling point of view, but maybe it's very difficult for the procurement guys to procure for that specification. The cost is increasing, or the quality is not be able to maintain to your level of specs. So you cannot say that this is what engineering wants you have to give. While that is the correct, probably the correct thing, but you also have to see the pros and cons of the other important aspect. Because if the specification you give is people are not able to buy it, there's no use. So you have to anticipate all these consequences and then take the decision. Okay, so that's how it says a decisive employee will take effective and considered action quickly, especially when under pressure. Decision making comes very important, especially under pressure, under pressure of time, under pressure of cost. There are some pressures. So that's why in normal times people can able to take decision freely without any issues, because there's no tension, there's no pressure. But how good you're able to take a decision, how decisive you are, especially under time pressure, under cost pressure, is very important. Okay, so again, leaders take responsibility for their decisions. They take responsibility for the consequences of action and accept. There could be a possibility that whatever decision you take can still be an issue, but you accept it and then essentially try to learn out of that mistake so that in future you don't repeat them. Again, one of the important soft skill is ability to work under pressure and time management. I just referred it right now. So nowadays, in a very, very competitive situation in any category of industry, FMCG or pharma or electricals or automotives or anything, it's very demanding because there's too much of competition. Time to market is what they call. Always marketing says time to market. Time to market should be the quickest, so that you are able to be the first in the, because the competitive advantages are very, very few and very thin. What is competitive advantage to you today, tomorrow it's already seen and duplicated by somebody. So your advantage, nobody is having an competitive advantage for 1 year, so that nobody is coming into this category and things like that. So there is always a demanding timelines and then very, very high stakes also. So essentially you should be having an attitude to work under pressure and time management. So if you notice the word I have put under pressure, there is a difference between pressure and tension. So when you work and when you are tense and you work, you are likely to give very suboptimal performance. But when you are under pressure, which means that you are stretching, you have the ability, you stretch your ability, you stretch your competence, and then deliver the results. That is what is working under pressure. Slight difference is there. Please understand that working under tension and working under pressure. So a lot of people enjoy working under pressure because that brings out the challenges in them out. So good employees or people who like to have challenges of pressure and then work and deliver under pressure of as well as under time management. Flexibility. Again, flexibility is an important soft skill to be developed, especially when you want to progress your career quickly in the organization. So, for example, today you are in packaging, you are specialized in packaging. So, do you want to focus only in packaging in the company and then, grow only in packaging development department, or apart from packaging, you would like to also look at related areas of, let's say, packaging quality or a packaging procurement. So, how flexible you are? How flexible you are, so that how good you are to embrace new skills without any problem. Or it also tells you about your comfort zone. You want to live in your comfort zone. I've studied packaging, so I want to stay only in packaging. I don't want to look at any other department. Or are you saying that, okay, I have studied packaging, is that allied area of something I can look at getting some new skills into that? So I'm flexible to acquire some new challenges and new skills, so that I can basically take more responsibilities and go further in the organization. So as I said, employees are looking for candidates who can show a willing and upbeat attitude, and you are unfazed by the change. So don't be comforted in the comfort zone. Try to come out of the comfort zone. Be confident to come out of the comfort zone. That's very important. So when you are confident, you come out, and then you are flexible, you have a positive attitude, you have the good initiative, then you can progress. Most important thing, negotiation and conflict resolution. This comes especially, as I said, packaging is very much like other functions, is a part of a team, is a part of a function, which is interdependent on other functions also. So when you have teams, there is always conflict. There is always negotiation you have to do. So if you are driving a packaging project, you are a leader, you have to basically negotiate. This packaging project may not be priority for a purchase or quality or a manufacturing. So they may have their own priorities, but it is up to you. It's your responsibility, because at the end of the year, you may be asked, what did you do in this project? It's your project. So essentially, you have to negotiate with people, and then resolve the conflicts. They may ask that, what is it, why I should contribute, what is it for me, because they have their own priorities. So you have to basically resolve all those conflicts, negotiate with them, and then ensure that your work gets done. So again, this is a very important skill, which shows your interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills is one of the important skills for leadership. People assess how strong you are in getting things done, as I said, how you are able to manage others and get things done. So there, this negotiation and conflict resolution skills are kind of what this thing. So basically, I have thought of these are quite an important soft skills at any level. I'm again reiterating that don't be under the impression that I'm just going to enter my career. I'm just going to be a joinee. I'm going to be maybe a trainee or whatever. So all these soft skills are very, very critical at that level also. So the next question is that since nobody is going to teach you, can I learn soft skills? Of course you can learn. Okay, this is not there is no exam or something like that, but you can learn. But one of the most important thing to start to learn soft skills or to get knowledge of soft skills is your own idea of what you are good at, which soft skills. So you have to do some introspection. So normally introspection is very difficult. We are always ready to assess others. We can always ready to give feedback to others. But when it comes to our own assessment, our own giving feedback to our own self, it's very difficult. So, but this is one of the important things you have to do to learn soft skills. So essentially, you have to participate in a self-introspection or self-reflection to find out which or where are your shortcomings. Are you not okay in communication? Or you're not showing initiative? Or you're not flexible? Or are you not confident? Or you're not decisive? Various skills. Okay. So essentially, take a very honest self-reflection. And then, if you're not able to find out, maybe definitely if you ask others, people will give the feedback. Only thing problem, as I said, we don't ask others, we are always ready to give the feedback. So be honest, be sincere in asking your close friend or a person who's a close family relative or a friend, you can say that, can you please, because they have observed you in close quarters for a longer duration, they know. Um, because they are basically coming in one of the most important psychological factor called self unknown others known, which is very important. Some characters which we don't know but others know, that is very important in this world, because perception is very critical in this world. So self unknown others known, like you may be thinking that I'm communicating very well, but others know that fine, you, that's what you think, but you are really a poor communicator, you are poor in this. So try to get an honest feedback from those guys. Don't go on your own assessment that no, it's okay, everything is okay, I can communicate well, I have a good initiative, I have, I'm able to take responsibility and things like that. So get feedback from others, and then once you know what are your strengths and weaknesses, improve on the strength areas, sorry, what do you call it? Top up the strength areas and improve on the weakness areas. So there are a lot of stuff online available course available right now, so you can learn anything online now. Various stuff, you can get the help, and then you can also basically look at interaction with others. You can observe others, varied people. Some of your friends may have one good skill, some of your teachers may have, professors may have some other soft skill, and then some of your friends or relatives may have some other soft skill. You can observe and take it from them, ask them how to improve it and stuff like that. And then once you know these are the things you have to acquire, practice, practice, practice. It's very important that you practice all these things, and so that you acquire some of them. Essentially, as I said in one of my points, the people who are recruiting you, they are not looking on all your, they are not going to ask you straight away to head the packaging development department. So they are, but they want to see you. Do you have the potential to grow into that position in some period in time, 1 year, 2 years? Are you able to grow into a little bit higher level of position? Are you able to take a position which is slightly outside your area of comfort? So these are the skills we must, know, and then you must, what do you call, try to develop and then improve on this. Okay, so so far this is what I have thought that the soft skills you must try to acquire, and then as in when you start practicing it, you will learn, you will improve yourself, you will learn by observing others. You can find out which is the best skill, the best way to improve your skill. So Ayush and Ajay, I'm slightly I'm almost ending this at this point in time, but I have two other sides which is slightly deviating from the topic. Is it okay to present?
Sir, we can extend time.
Sorry?
I think so.
Yes, sir, we can extend time.
Yeah, so we can really extend it, and the session is really very good and comprehensive. So please go ahead. Apart from the soft skills, whatever you have to convey, we will be happy to listen to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I have thought of talking to all of you is that now that in a couple of months' time you are all going to. There's some disturbance. Hello.
So we are looking onto that. We are muting the person, concerned person. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what I thought of is that apart from the soft skills and the hygiene skills, soft skills is something that, as I said, you will start acquiring now. You will already have. I don't say that you will start acquiring. Some of the soft skills, communication, all those things you may already have. Some skills you will acquire when you join in an organization, and then the organization gives a leverage to you to learn. That's why one of the important thing I have put in some skill, critical skill you require is a general expectation from the freshers. Obviously, you are expected to have a very good communication skill, as I said, oral, written. Obviously, you should have a good knowledge on all the packaging fundamentals. And then the most important thing, as I said last, is that people look how good you are do you have a good attitude to learn and be a fast learner? So companies, initially first year, second year, they're not going to give you huge responsibilities. They'll give you small responsibilities, but they very continuously assess you on how good you are in learning to do things correctly, learning to do things without any mistakes, learning to do things, peacefully, without any, what do you call, um, peaceful coexistence with the others in the organization. So they are assessing you on that. So for that, you should have the attitude to learn, and then first is the attitude to learn, and then learn fast. Nobody is going to give you, you know, years together to learn. So people will look at you. Generally, I feel over my 28 years of corporate experience is that first 2 years is what the companies give you, to allow you to make contributions and stuff like that. And third year onwards, they look at very seriously, to, take you up for that, to give you more responsibilities. So after 3 years, if you are in the same level, then you yourself will feel fatigued, and the company will also, have a sort of perception about your capability. So have an attitude to learn and learn it faster, so that you can start contributing, and then, to the company as well as to your own progression in this thing. So I have basically put, these are the general expectation. And subsequently, what I have felt is that, as I have been experienced in various type of industries, so I have basically recruited people from my own department in different companies. I have also recruited people for departments in my companies which I am consulting. So essentially, I believe that most of my other colleagues, like, packaging heads of packaging in different companies, probably may have the same general expectations from freshers. So individual companies may have slightly different, but general expectation is what I'm trying to tell you to all. So, like FMCG, FMCG is essentially, is, as you all know, is fast-moving consumer goods. They employ basically almost all packaging materials, rigid packaging, flexible packaging, metals, glass, paper, and board. So they expect you to have a knowledge on most of these things. Of course, you will be having all of you will be having all the knowledge of all these things, but I'm just saying that these are something which they specifically look at. And then, as I put, many companies, they feel that if you have some knowledge of, the engineering drawings, even modeling, that is an asset, because you can do lot of people, factory people understand drawings much better than, something mail written or something like that. So if you have a knowledge on, I had put AutoCAD, that could be some other software also, Cassia, Pro-E, whatever. So you basically, if you have a knowledge on that, it is considered as a plus point. And again, the FMCG companies employ many decoration processes. So how good you are. So why I'm saying is that, like, the marketing brings a design. So as a packaging guy, you have to give the input, which is the best process. So I always feel in FMCG company, the motto of the packaging guy is put what is in the mind of the marketing guy into the shelf. What is in the mind of the brand manager is what you have to put it on the shelf. So he may be thinking he doesn't know the printing processes, but he knows the design. Somebody is presenting, some advertising agency, some creative agency is showing him the design. So he will expect that to be the same, to be reproduced by the packaging guy. But sometimes it could be possible, it may not be possible. So you have to have a good knowledge on printing processes. And again, I'm reiterating, as freshers, you may not have responsibility of the packaging projects, but if you show knowledge on these, you may be given responsibility. So that is a positive sign of action. You're at an entry level itself, you're given responsibility of a small project, that's very good to you. That will, as I said, if you complete the project successfully, you are visible to the organization. The more you are visible to the organization, the better your chances of, progressing your career faster in the organization. I put RX Pharma, which is ethical. So essentially, pharma, again, rigid packaging, flexible packaging, glass. A lot of glass packaging is used in this thing. So you are expected to know what is type 1, type 2, type 3, which is white type 1, white type 2, white type 3, blah, 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 stuff like that. And then since pharma, there is a very, what do you call a critical product. You have to know specific knowledge on barrier properties of various materials. So oxygen rates, moisture transpiration rates, CO2 rates, aroma, all those things you have to know, so that you can develop the most appropriate packaging for that particular product, which is not that critical in, let's say, in FMCG, cosmetics, or something like that. Again, pharma involves a lot of sterile packaging process, like controlled atmosphere or modified atmosphere process. So if you have some knowledge, that will be really helpful. And I mean, I missed it out, but I should say in communication, and when I say communication, the grammar is very critical, because most of the pharma companies, the packaging interns are mostly asked to proofread a lot of artworks. Pharma companies generate tremendous artworks. So you need to be very good in your, grammar. You should know the correct spelling and stuff like that. So that's a very important aspect you can, focus when you are trying to enter into a pharmaceutical company. Food and dairy. I have slightly separated it from FMCG, basically because it requires, again, in pharma also, some statutory regulatory conditions you may have to know. In food especially, apart from doing the knowledge on packaging materials, you should also have some basic idea on FSSAI, which is Food Safety Standards Authority of India. Not in gender, but somebody asks you what is FSSAI, you should be at least able to tell yes, something like that. So try to get an overview of that. Aseptic packaging in food and dairy, very critical, because especially dairy, mostly packed in aseptic conditions. What are the various aseptic packaging processes, packaging machines who are all doing that? Probably some idea if you have, that will be a good advantage to you. And then, a lot of there is, I was just speaking to Ajay the other day. I'm very sure that the biggest opening opportunity for many of the fresh students is going to be non-FMCG. That is basically engineering. This is a huge opportunity. Many of the engineering, big engineering companies don't have packaging department, but they are essentially looking to. I consult many. Though, as I said, out of 28 years, 1 year I spent in non-FMCG. But that 1 year of non-FMCG background gave me a lot of non-FMCG clients, engineering, automotive, clients. And they don't have big companies like, for example, I can tell you one of my clients was Hero Cycles. It was some 10,000, 20,000 crore company. But they don't have any packaging department people. They have packaging issues. They pack their bicycles, and some bicycles are even 1 lakh rupee, some very high-end sports bicycles. And if that, because of poor packaging, if that bicycle, one part of the component of the bicycle is damaged, they lose 1 lakh. So they have, like that, there are many other companies, automotive companies, spare parts. This is a very big opportunity. So one of the small points I want to tell, which of course I would like to end that my topic with that thing. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to, progress your career in engineering, packaging, which is electricals, automotive. So what they typically do, so they are mostly into 80% will be corrugated boxes there. What importantly, they look at the specific knowledge on cushioning materials, because very spare parts, automotive parts, electrical parts, they are very sensitive and fragile. So you should know which type of cushioning material to use, APS or EPE, or paper foam or air foam bags or whatever. So you should have a knowledge on all these things, which one to be used for best, and that is important there. And then again, most of these automotive and engineering spare parts are made of metal, so there is a chance of them getting rusting. So how do you design, what sort of knowledge you have on anti-corrosion resistant packaging, so, or corrosion resistant packaging or anti-corrosion packaging. So some knowledge is, if you are preparing yourself and get some information on this, it will be really useful to face this interview in this company. And again, and both this, apart from these things, there are a lot of basic idea on anti-counterfeit packaging solutions is required in especially automotive and consumer non-durable companies, because a lot of duplicates are going and they spoil their brand, apart from causing them loss of sale. So you have an idea of various anti-counterfeiting packaging options, so that will be a good thing for you. I am again coming to Convert Industries. Why? Because I want to tell you, like I believe Ayush told that 129 people or 220 people are passing out this time, correct?
This time 180, next year 220.
Sorry, okay. So 180 plus 220. So obviously, all the 220 guys cannot go into Hindustan Unilever. All the 220 guys cannot go to Procter and Gamble. All the 220s cannot go to Dabur, Marico. So I want to tell you all of people that okay, my career has always been FMCG companies, but somehow it is destiny, because at that time packaging was more important for FMCG companies. I am talking about 87. Other companies they were not too much bothered about packaging. Okay, of course, pharma is their basic packaging thing, which is basically the blister packaging or a strip packaging or a glass. Not much this thing. Now, of course, now pharma is also coming into OTC. So, and new medical devices are coming. So, packaging is becoming more and more important. So, but I would want to give a small advice to you, is that look at any type of industry for your initial career, advancement. Don't be fixated that only FMCG is good, others are not good, stuff like that. So, as I said, there are very big engineering, automotive, electrical good companies which don't have any packaging guys. And if you go there, if you get an opportunity to go and join there and then contribute, you can progress very fast in those organizations. Whereas in an FMCG company like HUL, you may be a drop in the ocean. Okay, so okay, you can have a society standing. Yeah, I'm working in HUL or a PNG or something like that. But for your own career progression, other things are also very critical. And especially now, the FMCG packaging jobs are maybe saturating. And I also get a feedback from a lot of other people that many of the packaging operations activities are being outsourced in FMCG companies. Like there are companies like Equity Packaging, Axiom Packaging, and all, who place their, of course, they are also IIP graduates, but they're no longer on the roles of HUL or PNG or JNJ. So there are a lot of, because they feel that these, there are anyway more number of people we have, and these activities don't seem to add value. So what I'm trying to say is that if you get an opportunity to work in a FMCG company, it's good, because the packaging is a very important function there. You can contribute a lot, but there are a lot of other things. So that's why I come into converter industries. It's a converter industries always looked at, people are not ready to go into converter industries because they feel that, it's non-glamorous and stuff like that. But I can assure you people, please, if you get an opportunity to get to converter industry, please take that, because in a converter industry, there is an opportunity for you to become the CEO of that company, managing director of that company. You can never, with a packaging technology qualification, you can never be a CEO of a FMCG company. It's very difficult. In a converter industry, with your basic technical qualification, with additional management qualification, with your initiative, with your contribution, you can definitely aim to head the company once. Okay, so please don't have a negative perception of converter industries, because a lot of converters have also told me, I don't get any IIP guys. They come and join here for 2 months, 3 months, they go away. I'm ready to pay salary and stuff like that. Of course, the compensation and all may be slightly different from this thing, but I'm saying that please have don't have a negative attitude towards converter indices. Look into them in a neutral way. If they are good, if they, a lot of people among you are maybe very good in communication, maybe very outward oriented people, meeting, people or your speciality, or your, very high capability. For you, business development in a converter industry is a very good job. Okay, so in case you choose to go to a converter industry, I feel that these are some of the skills which you can look at, like basic knowledge on processing techniques and injection molding, blow molding, IBM. I'm sure you would have heard of all these things in your first 3 semesters, as well as probably during your industrial training and then industrial visits you would have heard. So have some basic knowledge on all these things. And then most of the times the converter industries look to IIP graduates for doing their quality control, because you have a packaging background. So you are that much more able to do the job faster in a quality control system in a converter industry. So basic knowledge of quality control systems, AQLs and things like acceptable quality levels, and then statistical process controls and all. Of course, all those things you will learn on the job, but if you have some knowledge on all these things, this could be really useful to you. So I'm ending my talk on these things, and once again I thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you. Only thing, unfortunately, I'm not able to see you all, but thanks for the IIP Alumni Leadership Group. Thank you so much, Ajay and Ayush. It's been a learning to me also to speak to my own fellow alumni, and hope this talk is useful. And I wish you all the best in all your endeavors. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Venkat sir. It has been a pleasure.
Pradyum from IIP Mumbai. Firstly, I would like to thank the whole IIP alumni community for lending their support in this time of crisis, and IIP Alumni Association. Secondly, it was a great session. I believe we all will benefit greatly from today's session. So,
thank you.
Moving on to the questions.
Yeah.
Moving on to the questions. The first question is, presently, there are a lot of virtual meetings happening. So, what are the additional soft skills that one has to develop in these times?
See, as I told you, you have to basically look at which areas you want to improve. I mean, I've listed some 10 soft skills. So you may be good in maybe 5 or 6 of them. If you feel that, for example, you are you are not sure that how good you are in, let's say, problem solving. So maybe you can look at online on this problem solving skill, and then what are the, how you can improve, what are the tools to improve the problem solving. As I said, for every soft skill there is some online stuff available, which can give you what you call start initial stepping stone type. Of course, most of these skills you will learn and you will gradually improve as and when you essentially go through the various years in the organization. So you see, I'm not able to say which specifically is important now. All of them are important. So if you take in, it's my personal feeling. If I'm going to recruit people for my department, obviously, as I said, the most important thing I would look is how good you are in communication. So if you feel that you're not good in communication, probably you should look at improving that as a very, very first step. Other things you can learn on the job, but communication is something is very important. It's a basic hygiene. It's a given. So I would say that communication is the most important skill, which at this stage you want to, if you don't not sure, you are not strong in that, improve on that.
Thank you, sir. The second question is, would you like to suggest any specific online or offline sources to improve our communication skills?
I need to, as I said, there is many, so I don't know. If you give me some time, I'll search for you and let you know. I'm not able to tell precisely.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to Google communication skills. That's all. Let me just find out. I don't know. Let me find it out, and if I find some good skill which is relevant to you at this point in time. When I say you, all of you at this point in time, maybe I will share it with Ajay and Ayush, and they can probably give it to you.
Sure, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So the third question is, how to take right decision when two managers tell us to do the same work in two different ways?
See, first of all, this type of situation may not happen. If it happened, then your manager is a very weak manager. I'm assuming that each one will report to one particular guy only. Direct. Of course, at a junior level, everybody will ask you to do things of their own and stuff like that. So it's up to your manager to ensure that you are not pulled in different directions by different people. So you have to ensure, your boss has to ensure that, as I said, that you're a very entry level person. So packaging development is packaging development manager is your boss. He's not there. Some quality control manager will come and ask you to do this. Some procurement guy will come and ask you to do that. So you have to basically, that's how the teamwork, the tact comes. While you are wanting, you are eager to do, because you are a very junior level person. You cannot say no. You may think that if I say no, what will they think of me? They will report to some senior manager that he is not doing the company job and stuff like that. But at the same time, you also have your own boss to this thing. So you may have given you some other thing. So it's basically a tact, which there is no right and wrong in that. So essentially, you have to weigh the consequences. One of the things, as I said, one of the options, that's what the decisiveness is. You have to basically see, if I do this, what will my boss tell? If I don't do this, or if I do this, my boss may appreciate me also. You may think that if I do this, I am showing that my flexibility, I am showing my initiative to do some things outside my job also. That's what you may think. But what you think is, what others think is also equally important as what you think. So in such cases, I would request, get feedback from your boss. Yeah, obviously, if your boss is very weak, you're going to be pulled from everybody.
Yeah. The next question is, how to handle repetitive criticism when one is putting 100% of oneself?
Repetitive. See, why people may criticize you? Why may people, say that you are failing or something like that? So it's again, you are judging you by your standards. You are saying that I want to do this, I've done this. Is that the correct thing or not? And that's what I said. The self-unknown, others known is very important in this world, because we are not alone. It's not our own company. We are not a single person company. If you are a single person company, nobody is going to tell what to do, what you have done is correct or not. You are in a team. You are in a basically, somebody has said, no man is an island. So you are not in an island. you are surrounded by people. So it's very critical that others, what they think of you is also what, when they say think of you, meaning not think of you, think of your actions. That is also important. And more than that is the objective met. So if you sure that the objective is met, then there is no problem. And then you can easily counter the criticism. Objectively, you can say that this is the objective which was told to me and this is achieved. So what is the issue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. The next question is,
Hey,
as a
what do you
fresher,
want-
when we are asked
Will you
about our
ask
opinion.
questions? Others are also asking questions. Sorry.
Actually, sir, I have compiled this question
Oh,
on behalf of everybody.
okay. I'm
So
sorry.
I'll.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry. So sorry. Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like all the questions that are in the chat box and
Oh,
the batch are supposed
No,
to
I
ask. So I
didn't know.
compiled it and I'm asking on behalf of everybody.
Oh, sure. Okay. Sorry.
Sure, sir. No problem.
Yeah.
So if I can go to the next question.
Hi.
As a fresher, when we are asked about our opinion on something,
Hmm.
should we agree to what the seniors or the majority are saying, or should we say actually what we think?
It depends on if you are going to give an input which is critical. I think you should tell, and I think others also will accept. So it is depending on what you're going to give input is critical than who is giving the input. You know, in many companies, many progressive companies, ideas, a lot of people call for ideas and stuff like that. And ideas come from the lowest level of employees, which can bring the greatest benefit to the companies. So the company culture, again, you know, it all depends on the company culture. Is the company's S-man culture? Then probably you may have to, so long as you're in that company, you may have to basically follow that. But again, as I said, take the conscious call of, is my input going to be different from what is already existing? Or am I going to give the input, different input, just for the sake of giving the input? And please also be ready to, suppose you give the input, somebody asks you why you are giving the input, please be ready to explain that, why you are giving that. You know, that is more important also. So you have to be careful with what input you are giving. And then also, if it's a very good input, people will ask you, definitely. People will jump on it. At that time, nobody will think that this is coming from a lowermost level position and things like that. It is benefiting the company, so what? So they will ask you, like, you know, how is it beneficial? So it again, as I said, everything has a context to it. So input is in what context it is asked. If this is in the context of you are giving it in the context of improvement, it is going to be taken definitely. At that time, nobody is going to see the hierarchy and stuff like that. But if there is some input just for the sake of input, then it has a different meaning.
Yes, sir. The next question is, what are the skills required for e-commerce companies?
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh God, I forgot to add that. I think the e-commerce companies is going to be a sort of thing very similar to the engineering type, in the sense that corrugated boxes, cushionings, and stuff like that. Only thing is, in e-commerce, I think there is too much variety. So there will be a conflicting, demand on the packaging technologies, because you may want to develop specific packaging for different items, but there will be a demand from the procurement guy that, you know, if there are 1,000 items, why you're giving 1,000 different packaging? Can you standardize? Can you standardize the sizes and stuff like that? So that's where the your knowledge on how to fill the white spaces, how to fill the cushioning, what cushioning material to use, and they are all very important. So the e-commerce skills is, you are talking about technical skills or soft skills? Sorry.
If any of them, sir, if you have to share anything.
Okay, so I think as a soft skill, it is basically not any specific industry related. It is applicable to any industry. So specific to e-commerce, one of the things probably I wanted to put a slide which I probably forgot to add was that, you know, expectations from the e-commerce guys is that you are obviously strong area in corrugated boxes, strong areas in cushioning systems and things like that. Different, when I say corrugated boxes, different styles of boxes, because e-commerce use, RSE, CSC, this telescopic, this, that, pizza type, whatever. So essentially, you should be able to have knowledge on all these things, and then have a specific skill of how you can standardize. Because as I said, that'll be the demand. There'll be 1,000 items, 1,000 boxes you cannot have. You're going to have some maybe 100, 200 boxes, which will be able to pack all the 1,000 items. So how to put dividers, how to put supports, what cushionings you have to use to ship fragile items and stuff like that.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, as a packaging technologist, what should be one's long-term goal?
Wow. I would say there are two goals you can have. One is a professional goal and one is a self goal. Rather, when I say self goal, it's not in the negative term. When I say the inner goal, rather. So the professional goal would be obviously to head the function. Different levels, different companies have different designations, but your goal could be to head that function at the as soonest, the earliest possible number of years. The inner goal could be very philosophical, very esoteric in terms of, you can say that how I can ensure that the packaging I put is sustainable, packaging I put is environment friendly. So these could be some of them could be even your company goals also. Many companies are looking sustainable packaging, environmentally packaging and all as a part of their daily activity also. So as I said, one is the career progression, the other one is contribution to society and stuff like that. So you can have essentially these two type of goals.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that is the end of the questions that I have from my side, and it's an honor. I would like to hand over it to Ayush sir from here. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Venkat sir. Like straight, we see the same energy 1.5 hours back and right now also. Like awesome, sir. I also like Ajay and I have some questions which we would like to pose to you. So, like a straight message has gone to the students that apart from FMCGs, pharmas, foods and beverages, they have to like understand how converters play a role in the Indian economy. And we have started like 5 years into this packaging line, like including post graduation. We've also seen like converters have grown in a very corporate fashion more than even FMCGs.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and they are paying at par with the FMCGs and more than like 80% package CTCs which are offered to the pharma packaging professionals. So that is really an aspect. Apart from this, like I think that for these students, whether to join FMCG or a converter, I don't think that will be an issue as of now. But there are, I think, certain other domains which are yet to be explored. So, sir, I would take it to the consulting industry. So, consulting industry worldwide, it is a $200 billion. And whether any pandemic comes, whether any recession comes, the consulting industry will thrive, will literally thrive. And you are one of the face of that consulting industry in India in packaging. So, and 1 to 2 decades back, or even like 4 to 5 years back, it used to happen that experienced professionals were required, and which are required today also for these consulting. But these consulting industries do hire freshers also, and IIP and these place comms of the students should focus on that as well. Would you like to throw some lights on that? What skills are required and how like recruitment takes place in McKinsey, Bain, Boston Consulting Group, LEK Consulting, these sort of management consulting giants?
Okay, see, essentially, packaging as a technical field, unfortunately, still is in a shadow. Like, still it is, though it is very, very important. Like, without packaging, nobody can survive in this world. No product can, reach the consumer. So, but still, it is not considered so what do you call a function which is of equal importance as say marketing, even a product R&D, you know. So to give a small example to this, I did couple of projects, you know, through Boston Consulting, BCG. Essentially, they were doing operational, you know, project consultancy. For example, for I did the project for Hero Cycles. They were doing an operational, you know, strategy consultancy for them, and they identified packaging is one important, you know, area for them. And then they found out that, you know, through me, through LinkedIn and stuff like that. So what I feel is that now one is packaging consultants in India are not as professional. For example, I am basically I don't have even my company name. Okay, my name is my company. That's all. So
Right.
a lot of people know my name, so they call me, and you know, I take some projects and stuff like that. So I think it is basically, but I believe now, like, you know, probably you may be aware of this Muthu Subramanian, who is from the 6th batch. You know, he was a long-time employee of HUL, and he moved out and he has formed a company, Packpora.
Right, sir.
Okay, so that is basically, I wish Packpora grows big time, you know, and then, you know, as we said, they do projects, you know, in this type of emergency situations, or rather people look to packaging also, you know, to help them to come out of these type of situations. It is not as it is some consultants like you know, BCG, so that BCG have me on their panel, or so like that. I'm not sure whether other companies also have some packaging people on their panels. So it is basically the packaging has to professionals coming out of it with some experience, you know, starting a company and then, you know, growing big, and therefore, you know, getting highlighted. Essentially, the consultancy is it's a very informal only now. The people who know, they ask. That's all. Even big companies, they don't advertise for some stuff like that and all. They ask for I'm sorry. They ask for a general project consultant, and that project consultant maybe speaks to IIP, and that IIP speaks to somebody, something like that. It goes, you know, through some very circuitous route to identify the packaging consultant. We are still not very, you know, well known, because that's
Right.
the function is basically still a secondary only considered. It is still not considered as a very important thing.
Okay. Yeah. So since you mentioned the name of Packfora, I think like your own batchmate like Sandeep Goyal, he started 15 years back Packaging
Yeah.
Connection,
Yes.
and I think it was the first packaging consulting company of
Oh
India.
yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah. True. Absolutely. Yeah.
And Acumen Packaging to name. And sir, within the like packaging fraternity also, like we have like 2,500 strong alumni force. I think there are like 50 plus packaging consulting firms across India. So
Okay.
some are yet to be unraveled. So
Okay.
they are like working as an individual consultant. Obviously, like people like you and Prabhu, you are like institution in yourself. When it tells about like you have a certain different aura, like you are like called by name by this BCG, McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, and the thing is that like very well mentioned, like LEK Consulting, I will tell an example. LEK Consulting is also one of the niche consulting management consulting firm of the world, and in Europe they have a full-fledged packaging vertical, and then India they do their consulting for Universal Consulting UC Group. So why like we are having a sort of discussion, because like 1 to 2 months down the line, these 180 students will be looking for placements, and what happens like in a normal scenario also, like placement goes very tough when it comes to like packaging, because in India it's not so well organized, the packaging setup, and during this COVID situation. So I think that placement committees and also the student leads and the TPOs will definitely like tap these opportunities of consulting also, and they would work. So this was my point of view which I wanted to put forward. Yeah.
Sure. Like, you know, this is like For example, as you know, I know a few IP graduates who have progressed their career in Sanex, like Sandeep's company. So it is definitely, I think it should be one of the biggest guys in India in terms of at least number of years and stuff like that. So you are correct. Only thing is, the students should also have that attitude to go into that area also. So,
Right, right,
so that is
right.
another important thing is that, like organized packaging consultants set up in India, apart from the other global stuff, is 4-5. So if there is some, I think the perception probably to people who want to go and join there is that after 3-4 years, what will I do? What is my progression? What is my
Right.
career? So that is why I said that the consulting companies are not very big to show a career. So any company, you join any company when you see a career. That's it. Whether you are staying there or not is a different thing. But at least you join a company with an intention of not leaving the next day. Okay, so you join the company thinking that you will work here, you will you will progress in your career. Only if that's not happening, you look for other opportunities. So I think you're correct. Students also need to be told that there is a career progression in these companies also. Just like converters, you can progress your career in consulting companies also. That attitude should be there. You're correct.
Right, sir. So, sir, we have like 2 minutes past 9 or like
Oh
3.
yeah.
So, yeah. So, I would like to move with the official vote of thanks. So, thank you very much, Venkat, sir. So, you have been like it's a 9th webinar so far, and you are the first representing the founding batch of Indian Soda Packaging Mumbai. It's a deep pleasure for us, and a packaging veteran like you have spent decades in like 8 plus like FMCG brands, including pharma. So, it was nice to have you on board. And on behalf of Swati Raut, President, Harinarayan, General Secretary, and Jayaprakash Rai, Treasurer, Ajay, and myself, all 100 plus students who joined today. So we would like to like thank you for your precious time. And a